I'm Sasha Bartoshnik. I managed a team of analysts and data scientists at Zulily. I've been at Zulily about 4 years, almost exactly. And I've been doing marketing analytics at Zulily that whole time. Before Zulily, I was at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center doing analytics as well, focused on strategic planning, optimizing operations, and also some fundraising analytics as well. So if anyone wants to talk healthcare after, I would be super excited about that as well. So now what I do at Zulily is, so I lead a team of analysts and data scientists, and our focus is on enabling our marketers to use data to test, iterate, optimize across marketing channels and across the customer lifecycle. So what I'll talk to you about today is how we've been able to use Tableau to really develop that self-service mindset in marketing analytics and how that's really helped enable some of that really great customer growth Zulily has seen over the past year or two. So I'll talk about our approach to marketing optimization. I'll go through some examples of how we've used Tableau to do that and some other projects we're working on that are really exciting, and kind of where we're going next in marketing analytics at Zulily, and I'll leave time for questions at the end as well. So Zulily is an online retailer. We're focused on kind of a little bit different business model compared to traditional retail. We think of traditional retail as being a more intent-based shopping, whereas Zulily is based on this idea of browse and discover. So what I thought would be a really great example to show you guys is this is a customer we met at a focus group this year. These are actual screenshots from her phone. So she had an area on her phone dedicated to her apps for what she called regular or routine shopping. And that was like Amazon, Target, Walmart, places she went to really fill her kind of day-to-day needs for products that she needed for everyday life. And then she had her fun shopping apps, and that's where Zulily fell in, and we were super excited to see that. And that really made sense to us. That's where she goes to kind of, which is a little bit of time to really find something new, get inspired, and she doesn't really have an intention of what she thinks she's going to buy at that moment. So I'll read this quote. "The fun of browsing is new ideas on what to buy. I'm constantly getting inspired and updating. I get a real endorphin rush when a new idea gets ignited in me." So our Zulily customer, she doesn't have a specific need that she's trying to fill at that moment. She's really looking for something new and a great deal that she might come upon. So Zulily was started about 9 years ago by Blue Nile vets, Daryl Cavens and Mark Vadon, and they took Zulily from idea to launch in just 10 weeks. And that kind of has stayed in our DNA. So we're a really fast-moving kind of company, and the browse and discover experience that we've built for our customers really backed by technology. And so it's really in our culture to kind of build, test, and iterate in all parts of the business. So where we are with Zulily today is, kind of what the company really consists of is we launch over 100 new sales every day that lasts for 72 hours. So that represents about 9,000 unique product styles that we launch every single day. So for comparison, a typical Costco holds about 4,500 SKUs in a single store, and so we're turning that over every day. So as you can imagine, it's really kind of high volume catalog that we're providing. And the way we're able to make that work is we launch over 1 million versions of our website every day. So every customer that comes to our site gets a unique personalized experience curated based on what we think our customer would like to see that day. We also have a somewhat unique business model in that we don't hold inventory. So after our sales end, we then write up the POs for our vendors for the items that were sold, which also presents a somewhat unique challenge for marketing. So we don't really have a line of sight into the merchandising on a given day. So within marketing, in addition to kind of this high volume catalog that our webstore produces every day, we also have a high volume marketing operations business. So we launch hundreds of ads across digital and offline channels. We serve millions of impressions and convert tens of thousands of customers on a given day. So our biggest question is, how do we do this efficiently and at scale every single day? So we, over the past year, really seen some milestone growth. We've grown our active customer base by 1.5 million customers, which represents a 31% increase in active customers year over year. And we're, so like, how did we get there? So one of the things that has really empowered us to get there within our marketing organization has been our mindset to democratize our data, to really fuel as many people as possible in our marketing organization with access to the data to make the decisions on their own whenever they need to drive the growth of their channels. So this creates two specific benefits. So one is it enables our analytics team to move quickly without needing to involve IT in everyday activities, and it enables our business users, our marketers, with access to key data that they need without needing to involve analytics in their day-to-day decisions. So as you can imagine, that was also really exciting for the analysts, because then we're freed up to answer more strategic questions, to do more advanced analytics and data science as well. So I'll talk a little bit about how we got there. So in 2014, our technology team realized that our existing big data platform would soon kind of not be able to support the scale that we were seeing at Zulily. And so at the time, we were on SQL Server for structured data and Hadoop clusters for unstructured data. And they decided to migrate our business data warehouse to BigQuery. And that was really a key move that we attribute a lot of the success to as well. So that enabled us to be able to get the data all across the business that we needed by simply asking our engineering teams to just move that data over into BigQuery so we can access it. So once we had that, that's where Tableau came in, where we really started being able to build data sets on top of BigQuery and power that, flow that into Tableau dashboards. So we had a lot of data coming in through different sources and in our internal systems through BigQuery. Now that was all available to various organizations around the company. And we realized that we really needed a way to allow the marketers to self-service that data on their own. So there's a lot of data, and not every marketer knows what to do with it and how to use it. So what we ended up doing was building out kind of two components of a self-service tool set. One is centralized data sets that took all that raw data and established kind of standardized data sets at various levels of granularity that the marketers can then easily use to query with really simple SQL statements on their own. And then that also enabled us really easy foundational data sets to use for Tableau and have reports that were able to be easily used by marketers built on top of that. So once we kind of developed our kind of core data sets on top of the various BigQuery inputs and Tableau dashboards, is pretty successful in kind of helping our marketing organization really start kind of using data on their own. And we separated out a reporting analytics team within the marketing analytics organization. And then once that was kind of doing really well as well, we kind of were able to prove the value that data kind of bring to marketing, and also opened us up to be able to open more data science functions within our marketing analytics organization. So how does this work on a day-to-day basis? So it all starts with the data that we get coming in the form of touch points that our customers have with Zulily. So that might be a customer shopping on Google search or browsing through Google search for Halloween costumes, or looking for DIY projects on Pinterest and coming to Zulily, maybe seeing a Zulily ad. And so we have a lot of data points coming in throughout the customer experience. And so our entire business is dependent on kind of highly personalized experiences. And as I mentioned, we have millions of versions of our website every day. So we have a really high volume and high velocity of that data coming at us. And then another kind of key component of Zulily is that we have a really huge bias to build from the very beginning. And so a lot of our marketing platform has really been built in-house, and really don't rely on third-party reporting. So we have data coming in from various systems that we kind of have to make sense of. And so our vision is for everyone to be able to use data for their decisions every day. So the way this kind of gets into our pipeline is data users, or the data team, can push all the data from the internal systems into Google's BigQuery. Our marketing analysts and data scientists can then join multiple sources in BigQuery SQL. The analysts then can develop models or kind of data marts for other analysts or marketers to use. And our marketers and analysts can then use the Tableau dashboards, or Tableau for self-service analytics. So here's an example of a really super simple dashboard that is actually one of the key enablers for our advertising team to be able to optimize on their own without involving analytics. So as I mentioned, when we have kind of data coming in from our email systems, our kind of advertising APIs, from our clickstream, and all this data was getting used by different people and different analysts in different ways, and we didn't really have standardized metrics. So I don't know if you guys have this, but we had metrics that were supposed to be saying the same thing, and the numbers were completely different. So when we finally developed these centralized data sets that connected them all together and were kind of the one source of truth, we were then able to produce dashboards that all the marketers knew they can go to get their ad performance metrics. So this one is super simple. So using parameters in Tableau, we basically input any metric we can possibly think of and allow the marketers to plot it here over time. And then create really simple, easy to use, customizable reports that our marketing team can use to get their data at any grain. So the way we approached building out the centralized data sets was to make them available at the most granular level we could, all the way up to the most aggregated in a sort of hierarchy. So starting at the customer level, adding on every segment or every attribute we can think of about the customer, and every metric we can think of about the customer, and then aggregating that up to the ad unit, the campaign, program, channel, et cetera. So here marketers can filter by channel and all sorts of other things, and they can actually drill down. So this is kind of all our ads aggregated. They can drill down to Facebook versus display, and then they can keep drilling down to the specific ad ID and look at that performance and export it and do whatever they want with it and save it as their own customized report for their channel with the metrics that they might want. So another one of my favorite really simple examples that now that we had all this data centralized, that we were able to give intraday insights to our executive team. So our net active customer number is one of the key metrics at our company, and we were constantly getting the question, how is the day going? And then we'd pull the report, we'd send it to our CMO, and we realized we can really just make this available to him at any time he needed it. So this report is at the top, just summarizing up to the hour how we're doing on our net active customer count and comparing that to the day before. And then throughout the day, you get an hourly update of how you're trending towards your net active customer number. And so our execs get this in their inbox every hour, and we don't really have to answer those questions anymore. And now the question that remains is why, right? So what can we do to change the trajectory throughout the day? And then beyond just looking at marketing operations and performance, we've really been able to connect a lot of the pieces of our data sets across the company to get a holistic view of how marketing works with other departments and units. So we have everything from looking at how our different brands are performing on site, so how the merchandising is doing. We're looking at how quickly our customers are getting their orders delivered. We're looking at whether we're seeing spikes in cancellations and whether we need to update the product availability on site. et cetera. So now that I talked a little bit about how we get the data, kind of what do we do with it, and kind of how do we optimize for the marketing lifecycle. So the way we think about a marketing analytics program starts with customer acquisition and optimizing how we spend our budget on the right acquisition strategies. Then we think about how we manage the customer lifecycle. How do we provide a great experience that's personalized? And we put a lot of effort into figuring out how do we measure the brand overall, what our customers are thinking and the feedback they're giving us. And then we have a lot of monitoring in place as well on our data and our data science output and input. So it all kind of starts with us, especially in marketing analytics, it's really important to create a single view of your customer. And so where it starts with us is making sure that we're connecting the pieces to know where that customer is coming from. So we collect the raw data and on various traffic sources, and we make a decision on which source or which combination of sources we think really drove the customer to our site. Then on top of that, or in addition to that, we add customer segmentation, and we have kind of one view of where a customer came from. So once we have that, what's really critical for us for customer acquisition is to be able to understand the potential value of that customer, to be able to optimize our revenue for kind of for ROI and really enable efficient customer growth. So this is kind of an example that we like to walk through, just kind of outlines how a predictive model for lifetime value might work. Obviously, could work in many different ways. This is really high level, but what we do is we start with looking at our historical customers and who are those that we kind of tagged as high value customers. Then we look at the behaviors that distinguish them early on in their tenure with Zulily. So that the behaviors that distinguish customers who are higher value from the rest of the customers. So things like, are they engaging with our apps? Are they favoriting brands? Are they buying particular types of products that really differentiate them from the rest of our customers? And then when a new customer comes to our site, within a short period of time, we can look for those behaviors and see whether those behaviors would indicate that customer will be a higher lifetime value for us. So in building those models, we consider thousands of variables. We build and test hundreds of different kinds of models and ultimately choose a smaller set of variables and have been able to get pretty good accuracy in predicting one-year revenue of our customers within just a few days of them coming to site for the first time. So now that we know where our customer came from, so the touch point that kind of brought them into Zulily's ecosystem, and we have a predicted value for their lifetime value, we can now start to optimize our advertising. So one example is how we approach our Facebook advertising. So we launch around 30 to 50 ads on a given day. We have an automated ad generator technology that does that for us. So what our marketers then need to do is make decisions on how to set bids and how to allocate budget between campaigns. So once we have that lifetime value, and we can calculate both a short-term and a long-term ROI on various ad units and campaigns and reallocate appropriately. And of course, what's additionally really important for us in optimizing our acquisition strategy is A/B testing. So we test everything from the creative that goes into the ads. We test the timing of when to show ads to our customers, the landing experience upon clicking on the ad, getting to the site, and even across kind of the kinds of messaging that we might and call to actions that we might want to show to our customers. So once our customer is in our system, now we start thinking about how to really create a great experience for her. So we can combine the results of our A/B testing with the customer value score to target customers with the appropriate promotions and offers. So this is just one example of an offer we might have on our site, and some results we see as a result of an A/B test for a certain offer that we've done. And so we can look at results by customer value score and really see where the lift is coming from for a particular promotion. And then we can decide to lean into those customer segments to really create the greatest impact from a certain promotion. So as our customers browse the site, engage with our email, give us feedback, purchase products, we continue to personalize that experience to really understand when to send the right message that will really matter to that customer. So an example where we've really been able to see success in using the kind of customer behavior to personalize the experience is our email program. So we used to send emails once a day in the morning, right at the time that our kind of new sales would launch. And over time, we were seeing the unsubscribe rate from our emails go down, and we were seeing unsubscribe rate go up and our engagement go down. And we realized we really had an opportunity to optimize when to send the email and how frequently based on any given user's engagement with us in the past. So we designed experiments to really understand when the right time and cadence was to send those emails. And as a result, this dashboard shows some of the success of that, some of that initiative, where the top you see the send count, the total volume of our send count year over year. The dark line is this year, the light line is last year. So we're sending a lot fewer emails. Our open and click rate, our open rate kind of stayed the same. Our click rate, though, went up significantly, and our demand per email send went up as well. So we're really able to use that previous engagement to really limit our email sends and kind of decrease the risk of our email program, but really provide a greater impact for our customers. So other things we do to engage with the customer involves building the right measurement tools to understand what's really working. So some examples on here. So for example, I mentioned a little bit about attribution, and we've spent a lot of time trying to understand what really drives the customer to our site and what kind of models can we build to understand that path to visit and path to conversion. And that really underlies the foundation of basically all the metrics we look at in marketing. We've also put a lot of time into understanding and modeling when a customer is expected to make her next purchase or when she's expected to fall off. And that really helps us understand who we might want to target with an offer and when that might be the right time. We've also more recently been looking at lookalike modeling. So we've been trying to understand when we don't have the ability to conduct an A/B test, how do we still understand the incremental impact of a program? So one example there is we launched the Zulily credit card last year, and we weren't able to A/B test that. And so what we did was we built an audience that looked statistically similar to people who applied for the credit card in order to have a sort of control group of customers and really understand the increase in value that the Zulily credit card was bringing to our customers. And something that I think is really cool too is the way we think about profitability. So we don't just look at it at the channel level or overall. We also actually look at profitability at the customer level, and we use that to really understand which customers can we reward for being really loyal and very profitable for us, and really engage them with even better opportunities and promotions. So in addition to optimizing how we acquire the customer and how we customize the customer's experience, we also need to understand kind of how our brand is doing overall. So we extend our measurement approaches to offline as well. So one example is in how we understand the TV response and how we measure lift of that program. We do similar things also with podcasts and direct mail. And then we really put a lot of effort, especially more recently, into understanding the real feedback our customers are giving us. So one example is the Net Promoter Score. It's kind of an industry standard metric in retail that It's a survey that goes out to customers usually after either a purchase was placed or the order was received, that asks, how likely are you to recommend Zulily to a friend or family member? And so you score, I think, on a scale of 0 to 10. And then there's an open text box where customers can leave their feedback. And so we mine that text data as well to understand kind of what factors are really driving a better experience for our customers, and where can we lean in and maybe create programs or initiatives to improve the customer experience. So the kind of last step of our analytics program is monitoring. So what's really been important for us, especially when we create data science models, is to not just kind of leave them after we've built them and never revisit them, right? We want them to be fresh. And at times we're able to build in kind of auto retraining for our models, but oftentimes we haven't done that. And so it's really important for us to have signals to know when it might be the right time to refresh or retrain a model. So these are examples. This is an example of one dashboard for a logistic regression that we built. And so the different colored lines are aggregate coefficient values for the scores of the model, for the output of the model over time. And so what we can start seeing is areas where maybe we've had data issues or maybe seasonality, or we start seeing a certain value of a coefficient start trending in a direction we didn't expect. And that might tell us to kind of look and see if maybe customer behavior is changing. Maybe our training data is getting out of date and we need to refresh. And then you can dig into the variable specifically as well. So you can choose a variable and look at the distribution of here, the categorical bins of that variable over time, and also see if there's anything you need to go back and address. And then if that wasn't exciting enough, we also monitor the inputs to our data science and data reporting models. So we monitor the hourly success of the data runs and the volume of the data runs as well. So we were seeing that because our models were often dependent on the data that was produced for the inputs of those models, sometimes we'd see the customer value all of a sudden look really great, and people would be coming to us like, wow, what changed? What did we do? What strategy did we change this week? And it really would be that we were missing some values in the inputs and everything just looked really great. So we started really monitoring that output, and we get in our inboxes, I think most of us check it maybe once a day, just we don't have alerting for it set up yet. But just making sure that anything that's dependent on successful data runs is caught before our data science models on top of it are run, or at least refreshed quickly after. So what do we see as next in marketing analytics? At Zulily, the kinds of things we're thinking about is really, like I would say the next things is trying to figure out how to extend the self-service mindset to data science as well. So I was at a great session earlier today on self-service data science with Tableau that I'm really excited to think more about. But really, how do we make not just the data and metrics available to our teams whenever they want it, but also the outputs of our data science models in a way that's available to be used for making decisions just as easily, and also automated into our kind of audience and segmentation decisions as well. So that's kind of one of the big focuses coming up for us. We're also trying to understand how do we think about the fact that we have people on our marketing team who really have these blended skill sets. So data science, analytics, BI engineers, marketers, there's really starting to be kind of gray areas between a lot of the skill sets. So we're trying to understand how do we structure organizations to really take advantage of that. We haven't figured it out yet, but we're starting to think about how we might want to do that. And then we're really renewing our focus on long-term growth of our customers. So how do we really understand kind of how why our customers will want to be coming back, and give them the opportunity to come back over and over the next several years, and really make our offering interesting and exciting enough for that to be the case. So it was the end of my session. So, well, it was the end of my slides. We'll still have question and answers. Don't forget to fill out the session survey. Thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm not sure how long it went, but. Does anybody have any questions? Awesome. Do you want to, let's see.
A pretty simple question. So how many users do you have using Tableau on daily or monthly basis?
It's a great question. I don't know off the top of my head the number of users, but I would say in the hundreds.
Hundreds.
Yeah, like on the Tableau server, probably in the hundreds. Yeah, I think for dashboard development, maybe under 50. Yeah.
So once you identify like a new customer as likely to be a very high value, are you doing something to push them towards that, or like, can you talk to that?
Yeah. Yes, so the high value, so the lifetime value output is used both for acquisition, so like how do we get more of these kinds of customers, right? But kind of your question is the life cycle piece, and so what we do is we kind of use both ends of the information. So if we know somebody is high value, we're willing to spend more money on them, right? And be like, this is going to pay back because this person has a lot of potential. We need to keep just showing them really great things and maybe getting them back to the site. Whereas we also use kind of the other end where if somebody is looking like they're not as high value, we might exclude them from additional marketing because it's just too expensive. Or we might take the other approach where we see somebody who is projected to be really high value, but then is not quite meeting that potential, and that's an opportunity for us as well in our targeting. So we try to kind of tackle it in all the parts of that. Any other questions? All right, great. Well, I'll be around for a few minutes if anybody wants to chat about anything. Thanks so much for coming.